Thanks for joining. We've got some people joining us now, so we'll just wait for a couple more. Hi, Chanel. Hi, David. Hi, Debbie. We'll get loads of people joining now, so we'll kick off with the webinar. Thanks for joining us. This is our regular Alpha Tracker tips and tricks webinar. And this time we're talking about reports, extracts, exporting, and the Alpha Query Writer. With me, I've got Zach off support desk for his first time on the webinars, so he's very excited. And we've got Dan joining us as well to keep us on track and make sure that you can hear us and see us at all times. Dan, can you keep an eye on the Q&A chat thing as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
We love questions, so please do ask questions. We've got loads more people joining now, thanks. So we've got Kate and Cameron, Kat, Lucy, hi, nice to see you all. Thanks for joining. Hope you're enjoying your summer, what little summer we've had so far. So yeah, all about reports, extracts, and the Alpha Query Writer. We love questions, so please type any questions you want at any time into the chat window. And if you can just say hello in the chat window so that we know you can hear us, that would be wonderful. Dan, if you've got an eye on that, just let me know as soon as people have confirmed.
Yeah, sure. Here we go. Yep, we're getting through now. Bro.
Lovely. So this is what we're covering off today. We're covering off reports, not reports. Can be very clear about this. As Zach pointed out 5 minutes before the webinar, we've probably confused everybody. By reports, I mean data extracts, not asbestos reports or water hygiene reports or fire safety reports or any of the other types of reports you can get out of Alpha Tracker. So we're talking about data extracts. We're talking about exports to Excel, including exports that can have documents in them.
Yep.
So PDFs with reports or photos and things. And we're also covering off the Alpha Query Writer. If we've got time at the end, and we tend to last 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. If we've got time at the end, we can also talk about Alpha Tracker Release 41, which is out this month. It's with beta testing customers already. So if we've got time, we'll talk to you about that as well. Great, let's kick off. So over to our demo system. Here it is. And what we'll look at first is where you can find the reports at all. So where do you actually get data out of the system? Well, there's a whole menu option here called reports. And inside that, you'll see group names. These are security groups in the system. So depending on what type of user you are in Alpha Tracker, you'll have one or more of these groups available to you. I've just logged in as a super user, so I've got all of them. But if you log in as a project administrator, you might only have the project admin one, for example. Now, the one I'm going to go to show you some examples. Oh, by the way, favorites everybody has. We'll talk about favorites in a bit. And Query Writer, Dan, everybody has or most people have?
Yeah, most people have. I think there are a couple of groups that don't, but yeah, I think the majority do.
Great. Okay, so we're covering that off at the end. Let's have a look at the administrators group just as an example. So here I have a list of reports that you can run. Over the years, we've built up more and more reports in each of these categories as people have asked for them and they felt like generally useful things to add. So if we look at the active client list as an example, so this is all clients active within Alpha Tracker. So this will be all of your customers in your case. And if I click the screen icon, it runs that report to the screen just underneath the list of reports. Here we go. I've got 10 items showing at the moment out of 461. So I can go next page, next page, next page, next page, etc. So you can page through. You can also, if we just start to cover off some other features here, you can change how many items you're looking at. So I've got 50 items now on screen, or indeed I could go to all, and that's all 460. So there's the first thing you can do. Secondly, you can sort this list by any of the column headings, just like you can throughout Alpha Tracker more generally. So if I click by name, that's gone A to Z. If I click by address or postcode, you can see it's sorting. Click once, it's A. If I go back to name, click once, it's A to Z. Click twice, it's Z to A, just like it is in the rest of Alpha Tracker. So you can sort, you can change how many records you've got on the screen. You can also search, and the search is really cool because it's instant. It doesn't matter how much data you've got, this is instant. So if I start typing Porter, because I know I've got some customers with Porter in the name, it doesn't matter where Porter is in any of the columns, it finds it and you can see that was instant. And in fact, it does it as you're typing. So P-O-R-T, you can see each time I type a letter, it's instantly searching and effectively acting as a filter. I think my camera's just stopped. Let me just restart. You see my camera stop? That froze.
It's back again now. You're all good.
Thank you. Tell me if it happens again. The camera's been playing up.
Yeah,
so yeah, you can filter the list on the screen instantly, which is really useful. So there's some basic how to run a report, how to sort by the columns, how to change how many records you're seeing, how to do a filter on the data. You might have noticed with this active client list that it's starred, the gold stars colored in. That's because I've made it a favorite. So if you've got reports you run all the time, you can click the star to make them a favorite. So if I select that one, for example, as a favorite, and if I go to the favorites group here, you'll see the reports that you've marked as favorite. To take them off, you just click the icon again and they drop off. So that's quite nice. That's very similar, Dan, isn't it, to the favorites, when you can actually make a menu item favorite and add it to the top here.
Absolutely. So you can favorite your favorites, basically.
Your favorite. You could favorite your favorites. We do that. Let's do that. There you go. Favorited our favorites. So yeah, this is now a quick way of getting to your favorite reports. Nice idea, if a little confusing. Thanks, Dan. The eagle-eyed amongst you, the real alpha tracker geeks, of which Zach is proudly one, will have noticed, or may have noticed, that there's some differences here about how we're displaying some buttons on the screen, some different colors, different style. This is all part of release 41. We've given it a bit of a freshen up. So that's how to do a simple report. Let's have a look at a slightly different one. So if I look at the project status report, again, it's the one in the administrators one I'm choosing here. You can see that we've got a ... option. We don't have the screen and the Excel buttons. We have ... instead. That's because it needs me to enter some more information first. So we call them parameters. So in this case, it's saying this is a list of all open projects with their current status. Start typing this. Oh dear. Has my camera gone wrong? My screen has gone wrong. Let me just refresh. So it's saying start typing the status that you're interested in, and it searches on that status. Let me just do that again for you. So this is a type of parameter query. So if I start typing cancel there, you can see, and I run that, then you get your monitor and Excel icons. Now we'll get all of the cancelled projects, or the cancelled open projects in this case, actually. So there's 3 projects there. Helpfully, you also get a summary at the top of the list of the parameters that you've entered, which is quite nice. Generally, Zach, these are date ranges.
Yeah, date range, client IDs, site names, things like that. Yeah.
So yeah, so it might not be one parameter you're keying in, it might be multiple. So you key them in, then you've got your monitor button active, and obviously you can generate to Excel, which we'll talk about in a moment. Now, the last thing we want to talk about on here, which is something that Kim was really keen to show you, if you're a super user at your site, so a super user within Alpha Tracker for your own business, like I am here on the demo system, you can actually see how the reports are put together. If you go into the setup menu, then import, export, thanks, Zach. Then reports, here we go. This is the definition of the reports and how they're actually constructed. And this is the SQL, as it's called. This is the sort of technical language that's used to build them up. Kim thought this was useful because you can search across the groups here. So if I just type project status there, so you can see where the reports are in all of the security groups, not just the group group you might have access to yourself. So it's quite useful, that, Dan, I think, to sometimes to see how you can put these together.
Yeah, definitely.
If you've got somebody in your business who can do SQL, we can actually give you access and you can write your own reports, which is quite nice. You can also now include files, drawings, and reports, which we'll talk about in a moment, which is a really nice feature, generally used with data exports, but can be useful for reports as well. Any questions at this point, Dan?
No questions so far. Everyone's keeping quiet.
Good. We'll crack on. Let's have a look at X.
Hang on. We have had one through. This is from Kate. This is Can you apply multiple groups to each report, or do we need to duplicate it for multiple group
You
access?
actually do duplicate, yeah. And there's a reason for that, Kate. It's because very often it's the same report, but subtly different. So, for example, you might have a report that shows work in progress or jobs in progress or jobs you've worked on last month or this month without the financial information, which could be used for some of your staff, but with the financial information, which is used for the management or the directors, say. So, yeah, often they're the same report, but subtly different. So you actually duplicate them rather than share them out. Thanks for the question. Right, so export into Excel. So one of the ways to do it is from a report. So if I go back to the one that was on before, actually I could have gone to favorites, couldn't I? Let's go to favorites. Now we've favorited the favorites. You'll see next to the reports, you have an Excel button. It's as simple as clicking the Excel button. It runs the report and it drops it into your downloads. If you're using Chrome like I am, you'll have probably noticed in the last couple of months, they've changed the way that downloads work. Downloads used to appear at the bottom of the screen down here straight away. They now appear in this download thing at the top, unless you can change it, I think, but it seems to change the setting back again. So active client list is the one I just did. Click that, you're into Excel, and there's your document. So it's very straightforward. You can also, and that works from parameter reports as well. You can also do it from lists. And I know, Zach, you get this call on the help desk quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
People asking how to extract. They've probably searched a list, got themselves some data that they want, and they want to get that into Excel, and they're asking how to do it. So here's the project list, for example. So I could do my filter, so I could search by multiple things, get the list on screen, and then clicking this Excel button here. So the Excel button at the bottom of a list of data on screen will just drop that straight into Excel for me. It's important to note, now in this case, look, I've got 5,287, so it's just generated it there. Look, 5,287 records, only 10 of which are currently on screen. The Excel file will have all 5,000 records. So sometimes we get queries, people saying, I only had 20 records on the screen. I did the Excel and I got loads of records. Did something go wrong? No, it doesn't just do what's on screen. It does what's in your filter. It'll give you all the columns, by the way, that you've got on screen, generally speaking. Sometimes it's a few more, few less. But that's how that works. That's another way of doing it. The other one I wanted to show you, and I did mention this briefly, if I go to, we've set one up here to demonstrate. If I go to reports and then resource, I think. The project status report that you saw before, and Kate, this answers your point. This project status report in the resources one on our demo system is actually subtly different to the other one I showed you. And that's because with this one, I've configured it so that it adds the, in this case, asbestos reports to the Excel file when it does the download. I might have to say that again slowly, just to let you know what you can do now with this. This is a new feature in release 41. So normally if I click the Excel button on a report, I would only get an Excel file. But we've configured this one so that when I generate the Excel, let's just let that run through, what it's downloaded, look, is a zip file. And a zip file is a number of files sort of compressed together. If I open that zip file on screen, you'll see not only have I got the Excel file, but I've got a folder for each of the reports mentioned in the Excel file. And inside each folder, I've got the asbestos report associated with that particular job. That's just a single checkbox now in the report setup screen, really useful. So typically, this is where we're doing exports between Alpha Tracker and another system. So let's suppose you're doing exports from Alpha Tracker to a housing system, or a property management system, or a council system, or your client system, basically. Previously, either we'd have had to have written a complex export for you, or you'd have had to download it in Excel and then manually add the documents that you wanted to send across. And that's obviously really time consuming. Now we can just set it up for you so you can run it straight out of Alpha Tracker, straight from the report screen. Dan, did that make any sense?
It did, yes. Yeah,
excellent. Any questions about exporting? Oh, there's one thing actually. Yeah, Zach wanted to show something, didn't you? If we look at this again, another question that comes in on the help desk quite a bit. how to get asbestos data into an Excel sheet. So if I go to, I think we've got one on the next page, haven't we, that's got some data.
Yeah.
That's the one. So if I bring up the asbestos data on screen.
Yeah, so what's really good here is you've got the search option at the top.
Yep.
So if you click here to search, you can refine the data down here. So if you select location 01.
So this is a situation where somebody might want to audit the asbestos that was found in room 1, for example. Yep.
And then you can just click the Excel download button there.
Okay, great.
And it'll just give you the records for that location.
Perfect. So yeah, another example. So this is a slightly different list. This is a list within an asbestos survey, but an easy way to get the records into Excel if you've got to audit, or perhaps even if you're doing a manual reinspection for some reason. Fine. Dan, did I interrupt you? Were you about to say something useful?
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. So the first one is from Kat, and she just said, could you show again how you downloaded the report as a zip? So I think this is how the report's actually set up itself.
It is. It's how the reports are set up. Yeah. So if in the setup section, which your super user will have access to, in the reports area, this is where the reports are actually set up. If I just scroll that across, we've got these new checkboxes in release 41. So include files, include drawings, include reports, and there's a couple of other options as well. Essentially, this allows you to create or us to create, or you to create a report which not only creates an Excel file or a list on screen, but also bundles in automatically the PDF of the reports, the JPEG photo files, and whatever format your drawings are in as well. So you can optionally include all of those. And it bundles them all together in a zip file. When you run it, you don't have to do anything. You just click the Excel button. So if I just do that again for you, where am I? Reports, resource, wasn't it? That was the one. And it was project status. So again, if I just put some parameters in, I'll just put that same option in here for cancelled. So all you do is click the Excel button. Instead, as well as the Excel, you actually get all of the files presented as this zip file with everything in. Actually, Dan, it might be worth us changing the icon, mightn't it? If it's that sort of report, we probably should show it as a folder or a zip icon, not just an Excel icon.
Yeah, makes sense.
That would make a lot of sense.
We've got a couple of other ones coming in. I think you might have already answered this one with your explanation there, but we've got a question. Does the report have the asbestos register too? Is it just a PDF export of the report itself? So I think you've just covered that. It's basically, you can include the photos or the actual report itself. It's not a PDF of the extract that you're doing.
That's right. It is literally the asbestos report or the water hygiene report or whatever it was as issued to the client. Yeah, it's not a PDF of what was on screen. It is the actual document that you issued to your client.
Great, fantastic. And then we've just got one other one. The question is, it's from Debbie. Can super users move reports to different folders for access?
Yes, they can. Yeah. You can just change the group that the report's in.
Fantastic.
Good questions. We like these questions. These are really good. Right, last section then from us is the query writer. So the query writer, underused feature, I think, in Alpha Tracker. It's been in for a while. We know some people use it because we do get calls, but not many. So I don't think many people use this to the best advantage. So it's a means of you creating your own extracts to screen. And it's really simple to use. So all you do is go into Query Writer, choose the area of the system that you want to report on. So I'll go into projects here. Then you select the fields that you want to come out in your report. Just double click is fine. So I can double click project number. We'll have client ID, site name, and postcode, say. So I've got 4 columns. Now at this point, you can actually run it. You don't need to do anything else. So I've got 4 columns there. Execute that. And we'll see, here's the 4 columns. Look, here's my report, a very simple report. It's a start. If I go back, more than likely you're going to want to filter this. So this is where the second section comes in. So if I say where the postcode, and here you've got all your choices, look, for equals, not equals, greater than or equals, contains. is blank or not blank. So let's go with equals, and I'll type in postcode here. So this is our demo system. So we've got lots of demo jobs, lots of demo sites, all with our postcode. So if I run that one through, we'll get the same columns, but look, it's all for this postcode. So there's just 76 rows now. You seen this okay, Dan? Yeah, the screen share is working all right? Yeah.
All okay, yeah.
And you can then apply sorts as well. So I could sort this by site name, for example, and then after site name, sort it by something else, You get up to 3 sorts, and you can either sort ascending or descending. The nice feature, so we'll just run that through again, in terms of reusing these, is you can save them. So once you've got a report that you like, you can save the definition. So if I've created 2 in advance. Look, so if I call this demo number 3 and save, this goes on my personal list. Now that means next time you come into Query Writer, so I'll go straight in from our favorites bar. Next time you go in, you can load a saved query, and it'll give you your personal list of saved queries. Look, so demo number 3, load that, and here your definition will reappear. So I've got the 4 columns, got my site postcode filter, and I've got my sort, and you can rerun it. Obviously, running it, if you ran it every week, every month, whatever, you're going to get different results. But the point is your definition is saved. So it's not saving the results, it's saving the definition. But those are personal. So your list of queries, you can build up over time. And if you have to do something every week or every month, whatever, then you can just pick them from there, refine the definition and run it again. So that's the Query Writer. If there's an area of if I do a new one, if there's an area of of Alpha Tracker that's not on your list. Now this list here is configurable. So when you look at it, you might find you have very few items in there or loads of items, depending on if you've contacted the support desk. If when you look and you try and write a report, you can't see the area that you need to query, if you call the support desk, available 24/7, it's not Zach isn't available 24/7, the support desk is available 24/7, then they'll be able to add those areas to this list for you. So you'll be able to build that list up and use it as much as you want.
Great.
So there you go. That's the Query Writer. Dan, any more questions? I can see a couple. Looks like one. Yes,
yeah,
another couple have popped in.
We've got a couple coming in. So we've got another one asking if queries that are saved could be shared amongst other users within the team.
They can't at the moment. No, they can't. Yeah, it is a good idea, and it's something that will be in release 42. There's also another feature that we're going to add, which I'll keep up my sleeve, that hopefully will make it into release 41 that's related. But yeah, it's a very good idea. That'd be a very useful thing to do.
Fantastic. And then just one more, some nice feedback. Query Writer looks great, which is good. But there's the question, can we create our own dashboard reporting and set up to email?
Funnily enough, that's the feature that I was keeping up my sleeve. So what we're going to have is a new button. Let me just bring up my favorites. If this active client list, bad example, is probably not one you would use, but if this was one that you wanted to run every month, some of you may be familiar with our dashboard feature where you can get emailed reports automatically on a particular time of day or particular day of the week or particular day of the month. So we can help you configure those to, for example, 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, you get a summary of all of the work that's happening that week for all of your staff, for example. Now, what I'm thinking, Dan, here is, and we've had a little chat in the team at the design meeting, is I'm thinking that if there's a report in the system that you want to turn into a dashboard, there should be like a calendar button here.
Yeah.
You'd click that, it would ask you how often you wanted to run that, and it would then just run it for you and email you the results. So you'd be able to say, yeah, every Monday, 10 o'clock, or the first of the month, email me this report, and it will automatically run to save you having to go in and manually do it. So yes, it's on our plan. It may even make it into release 41, but it was a last minute thing we were talking about at the design meeting. So there you go. There's a nice summary then. Thank you all for joining. So we've covered off reports, we've covered off exports, the new feature with exports where you can export with documents attached. We've looked at the Query Writer, which is a nice feature. Reminder, this you've all watched live today, but if you're watching or if you want to share this with your colleagues, all of our webinars are on our webinars page on our Alpha Tracker website. So you got 12 to watch if you haven't watched them already, and this one will be going up in a few days. And release 41 is around the corner. will be available this month. We've publicly declared it, and here are some of the new features. You've seen a couple of them today. Here are some of the new features that are available. Just have a look on the blog or the Alpha Tracking News feed to see what's coming up. Thank you so much for joining us. Dan, thanks for your help, keeping an eye on the questions.
No problem.
We'll see you again. I was going to say in a couple of months. You will see us in a couple of months, but we're going to do an extra webinar about release 41. So that will probably be in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I should think. We'll email to advertise it. Thanks again. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
See you soon.
See ya.